Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Rural Conference of the Rural Services Network. We're delighted to see so many of you with us today.
The answer is always to have genuinely fair, proportionate funding across the country. And so we continue to campaign for that.
What was the one thing you wanted in rural areas? And we said it had got to be the broadband and the connectivity, because that allows the entrepreneurs. But there's lots of that. Obviously, we need other things, but that puts us on an equal level.
I was in Iceland above the Arctic Circle, and I managed to ring my wife on a perfectly wonderful 4G connection from a place where there were about 8 people. And it just struck me that, I can't even get a phone call from here to London consistently on the train.
We do need to have a relook of the benefit system, but obviously longer term, we need to be making sure we're building homes for people that are affordable and match what people's take-home pay is in terms of that affordability. So that's the real answer.
There's something around the sort of aftercare service for when somebody does have a heat pump or solar panels or whatever, to make sure that it's not just advising people on how do you get these measures, it's how do you use these measures once you have them.
The way that we ultimately need to heat is by taking a systems-based approach, putting on rooftop solar where you can, and when you can afford it, and where there's public funding to do so, but supporting the infrastructure.
Digital infrastructure is the absolute cornerstone of our economy. The reasons why are obvious. It boosts growth, it boosts productivity, and it provides opportunity for people who are often held back because of where they live.
Weeks of delay was avoided by one farmer ploughing a trench for somebody to lay some fibre, and that connected a community and changed the people's lives there. And
really need to understand those people who need additional support, and therefore I can't emphasise it enough. I need a coordinated approach across maybe all local authorities to drive that submission of that information to ourselves, so we can make sure that we correctly identify those customers and we can give them the switchover experience that they need.
I think the introduction of a wholesale and retail market needs to be much more firmly gripped by Ofcom, who I think have very little focus on the fibre connectivity. I think they're too busy on all the other stuff that they're responsible for.
You have to be honest and open with the populations that live in rural communities and say, we can do this, but we can't do this. 9.6 million people, that's a lot of people. You can't just abandon it and say, well, it's just 9.6 million people. 9.6 million people is a huge number.
And it is that need for infrastructure to really make cycling and walking much more achievable in rural spaces.
Buses keep communities connected. They provide people with access, not just to goods and services, but actually to be in contact with other people. And that has got great benefits, not just for physical health, but for mental health as well.
Do you need government to make sure they find solutions for rural areas? One of the things that we say to government is we don't just want you to say focus on rural health and care. What we want you to do is look at the provision of affordable housing. We want you to look at the rural economy. We want you to look at digital connectivity, because these things are all intrinsically linked together. We don't just want the right houses in the right places. We need the right jobs to support the people living there. They need to be able to get to work. They need to be able to access healthcare. Their children need a school to go to locally.